Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mate. This is video number 1 on a case study. So आज मैं राजीव कौशिक सर से I'm going to discuss with a lot of case studies from henceforth, sir. Sir, my first question to you is, sir, you have been guiding so many people. Rather, you have been talking to so many mariners in the last so many years. Sir, कोई एक story, one story जो कि which is very close to your heart. It might not be related to finance, but where you felt that this person got cheated or there was a blunder happening that time, which you can share with us.
Actually, all the stories about seafarers are about being cheated only,
Or are being about cheated only.
without exception. Or people who have read my book, in that the famous seafarer story which I have written, it is not something of a fantasy that I have written. It is not something that I have made up, I have written. It is a story which was a collection of lot of stories of people with whom I sailed. They were my same rank people, my juniors, my seniors. I started listening from the time that I was a fifth engineer on board. And I used to listen to everyone, the crew, the officers, and everybody. And one thing I realized, that as people grew in rank and age, they somehow did not mature. Because, see, as per, if you read about Maslow's pyramid, you have to also gel with the society. Because you can only learn from the society. We leave our home at the age of 17, 18. And that's about the time that our parents can actually teach us something. In fact, in the last 2 years, we are so busy with competition preparations and everything that our parents are hardly able to interact with us. So that means only the period of a learning process is only 15 years with them. And how much can parents teach you at that stage? When we are 15, they are also about 35, 36 or 40. So we need to learn. And something which I have been able to grasp from all the people, hundreds of people that I have sailed with, and other people whom we met during various courses or seminars and hearing the stories, because when they know that you are ready to listen, they unravel. They try to tell your problems, or they try to ask you your opinion or your advice. Advice is a very strong word, but at least they try to ask you. So maybe because they found that they could open up to me, so they used to come out with their things, maybe just to vent out. So then the story which I have written in my book.
Can you please share that, sir?
Yeah. So that story goes like this. It's a collection. Now you consider, in that I have written as a third person and in a past participle like method, that in a family of a middle class, lower middle class, there are two brothers, maybe a sister also. This elder son is there, and invariably, without a rule, but generally it is observed that all the rules and regulations in the house are made for the elder son. So this fellow, he grows up and he starts studying, and he's good at his studies, and all the attention is given to him. The younger brother is also there, maybe the younger sister is also there. So then this fellow does very well in studies, gets selected in competitions, he goes to DMAT or Mary or TS Chanakya, and now you have all the private colleges. You go to GMDI and you start getting trained for different things. And then you go on board. And in between, your younger brother on shore, he also goes to school and college, and your sister also starts grows up, and she goes to, gets married and goes away. And you keep growing in rank. And you start from a fifth engineer. First time you see money, you try to buy yourself a camera that was to buy earlier. Maybe now you buy mobile phones, and because that can compensate for everything. But the same thing used to happen earlier. And then then he starts sending money home, because the house which he thought at that time was small, so he wants to make it bigger. So he collects money, he buys a land. His parents buy land in his father's name or maybe brother's name, and the house is made, and he gets married, and then brother gets married, so everybody stays in the family in the same house. And then, because all the families cannot stay in the same house, now his wife, she's sometimes going to the ship, otherwise she's staying here on shore. This is a story that I have written there. But this is actually a collection of different people's lives.
आप बताइए sir, then I'll share one experience.
Then what happens is that after some time, the families, they start falling apart, and mostly it happens because of the wives. So they decide that no, it's not possible to stay in the same family. So then this fellow says that, okay, sorry, I can't manage now, because he comes from the ship, and the wife tells him this thing. So then the topic is brought up, and he says that I need the house because we can't get along. So either the parents are there or they are not there. But even if they are there, they start siding with the other brother. He can be elder or can be younger, but who's working on shore, and his wife is also working on shore, because for one person to work, it's not possible to do the expenses. Whereas the seafarers, our nice mariner's wife, now she's staying at home, she's taking care of her children, and she's also taking care of the children of the other brother also, because staying in the same family, you know, we Indians are like that. And suddenly this thing happens, and the brother refuses to move out. He says, firstly, this house is in my name,
or the parents' name,
or the parents' name, or the land is my name, or whatever. Or even if it is in your name, I don't have enough money to go out. So what can I do? I cannot buy myself another house. So what happens is that by now our merchant navy officer friend is about 35, 38, 40 in age, and he has to move out with his wife and his child or children, and he has to start again. And this story, I'm sorry I cannot take the names, but this has happened with a master who later on moved to New Zealand. He left his Indian roots, the nice Maharashtrian Brahmin. This was the same thing which happened to one of my very close friends. I will not say where, but any people, old friends who are watching this video will know very well, and how he died just 2 years ago in very bad condition, a merchant navy master. How it was very sad. And this is not the end. When I used to tell this story in the meeting, in the parties that we used to have on board, people used to actually cry. And there was not one person who said that this is not my story, with a little twist, but it is my story. So this was a story which used to happen. And it is not something different. I told you that this story was of a person who was a chief officer, became a master on that very ship where I was there as a second engineer. And after that, I came to know that he's left and gone to, but he told me a story that time. This I'm talking about 92, 93. And so all these things, they used to make me think. And remember one thing, all people who are listening to this, that the people who will cheat you will not be really the relationship managers of your bank. What will they do? They will give you one ULIP, or they will make you invest in another different thing.
scheme.
Most of the time, people who will harm you the most are the ones who are closest to you. I will not use the word relatives, but I will definitely use the word closest to you. So now I cannot really say that you give up all your relatives and friends and everything. It's not possible, but it is very easy to be alert. And this is the reason in the beginning, the initial pages of that book, Financial Planning for Seafarers, it's been 10 years since I wrote that book, but it is still valid. There may be plans and schemes and the few facts in the book which are no longer valid because rules have changed by Government of India. But the rules of human being, the human nature are same. And we are the same people, same gullible people. The creed, the breed of mariners can never change because the sea is same. Earlier, at least, we used to have some interaction when we used to go on shore. Now, there is absolutely no interaction except the cargo surveyor, except the customs, except the immigration, except the loading master, except it's the same. There's no difference. But how do we learn? I'll give you a very good example, another one. And I really don't know if this gentleman would be watching, he'll get to watch this video, but we joined together this ship. He was a captain and I was chief. And before we went on board, I came to know from him that his close relative, he asked him for a business loan. He himself was a very senior officer in the bank. So he asked him that we'll do some business together. So now this guy was not interested. He said, I will not. But how much money? So he asked him for 70 lakhs. 70 lakhs of money in something around early 2000s. I will not specifically name the year because so that other people will track me. The gentleman might track. This fellow was the bank manager, and our captain was also had a account there. So he gave him a account pay check of 70 lakhs that okay, you take this. Firstly, it's very mighty, very magnanimous for him to give 70 lakhs check in that time when the salary of a master in foreign companies was not $5,000. It was not. Anyway, now for some reason, this gentleman also went to the bank. Our captain also went to the bank to withdraw some money. I really don't understand what kind of captain he is that he's going himself to withdraw the money when you have a relative as a bank manager or bank officer. So there he comes and in the line and he says that this is the account pay check and it will take 2 days to clear. You give me a self check. So out of trust, or today I will call it foolishness, he gave him a self check of 70 lakhs. And then after 2 months or something, he met me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. After 2 years after this happened, he met me and he said, this thing is there and I'm asking money and he's not giving. So I actually...
And there is no proof.
There's absolutely no proof because it's a self-check. So the point that I would like to put across here to everybody who cares to watch is that when somebody asks you for money, this I have written in my book, you decide that is this money that you can give to a person and forget it? If you can give that money and forget about it, you should give. But do not give money to somebody simply because he's a relative or he's a close friend. Kabir has said so nicely that when you give money to somebody, you lost 2 things.
दोस्ती भी गई, पैसा भी
You
गया.
lost the money or you lost the friend also.
Sorry sir, मैं बीच में बोल
बिल्कुल
बट ये सच्चाई है.
मैं दोहा भूल गया हूँ, बट ये फैक्ट है. बहुत अच्छा लगता है, फिलोसोफर्स कहते हैं, हम सुनते भी हैं और हमारी हिंदू संहिता में लिखा भी हुआ है कि पैसा सब कुछ नहीं है. बिल्कुल पैसा सब कुछ नहीं है, पर यह बोलने के पहले आपको अपना पैसा कमा लेना चाहिए. उसके बाद आप बोलते हुए अच्छे लगते हैं. गौतम बुद्ध ने भी निर्वाण की बात तब सोची थी जब वो राजा बन गए थे. ठीक है ना. अगर वो बाकी संत रविदास की तरह या संत रविदास की तरह होते तो पहले तो वो अपना काम करते ना. तो द पॉइंट रिमेन्स दैट यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट मनी, अबाउट गिविंग. अरे वी हैव टू थिंक ट्वाइस अबाउट गिविंग मनी एज एफडी टू अ बैंक कि ये बैंक बंद तो नहीं हो जाएगा. और आप किसी के साथ में एक बिजनेस पार्टनरशिप में एंटर कर रहे हैं, बिजनेस वो आदमी चला रहा है, और ऐसे फोन विश्वास करें एटलीस्ट मुझे महीने में 5 से 10 फोन आते हैं. 3rd ऑफिसर से लेके मास्टर तक, 4th इंजीनियर से लेके चीफ इंजीनियर तक के आते हैं कि ही वांट्स टू एंटर इनटू बिजनेस विद हिज ब्रदर, विद हिज को ब्रदर, विद हिज ब्रदर इन लॉ, विद समबडी, एंड दे से दैट दिस थिंग इज देयर एंड विल टेक केयर. I don't understand. Doing business in India is so difficult. It is a very difficult thing to do business in India. How will somebody do all that hard work and share the fruits with you? How is it possible? So it is not possible. If somebody wanted to open a bar, somebody wanted to open a restaurant, you can. If you think you have the capability, if you have the opportunity in your city to start a business, by all means do it. But before that, you see that who will take care of the business. Is that business for you or is it your शौक कि हमें शौक चाहे कि हम ये business करें, एक रेस्टोरेंट खोलें. Maybe your wife, she wants to do a business in keeping with her capability and her qualification. It makes sense. Like, she is a co-laborer with you. If she wants to do a business, by all means, you help her out with the money, draw out a proper plan, see how much money is required, how much you can generate, and when will be the return on revenue or return on equity or whatever, and how much will it be. It is even worth losing money on such ventures because it gives you a lot of learning lessons. But I believe that if I lose money by my own decision, by my own thinking, I will not blame anybody. After all, we buy stocks, and out of 7 times out of 10 times, we lose in that money in that stock. But we don't really complain about it because it is our decision. But if you were to give 5 lakhs to somebody and he never returns it, the experience actually rankles inside, and you think that you should not have done it. So before that, it will not take much time, and you should learn into the habit of saying no. There is a book with the title,
When I say
Do
no.
Not Say Yes When You Want to Say No.
Okay.
Yeah, and you must read it. I read it when I was in school, very early, and I do that. I have been helping people. I have do my share of charity, but I do not expect anything back. If somebody wants to come and give back, there have been people who come back and say that this is the money. Relatives also, I have helped children of relatives for studies and all, and they come back that this is the money we want to return. I said, yes, thank you, but I would like you to find now 2 people like yourself, and you give this money to them. My money you give to one person, and from your side you give it to another person. I do not know whether they do it or not, but at least from my side I have done my job, and from his side or her side, she has done the job of returning. So all our accounts are clear. So it's all about human psychology. We feel more hurt when other people cause us the loss.
Especially the closest ones.
Yes. So especially in a family, it is very important to keep relatives at a distance, because our wife, our spouse, they feel left alone. Even if it is her relatives, this is a very, very personal thing that I am saying on camera here, and I will get a lot of criticism for this, but sometimes it might be her relatives who ask for money. And this has been the case. People have come to me and said that she did not want to give it to them, to her relatives. But you, out of the willingness to look good, you gave it. And then she had to hear later on about that it was your relatives and everything. Or even if it is the relatives are on your side. In that case also, if you have a very accommodating attitude that yes, he can give, then how can she be the one to say no? So these are very specific things, family to family. Now we are actually moving in between lanes of financial planning and personal relationships. And it's very important to understand that why this happens. Aisa kyun hua? Because now if you just imagine a chief engineer today, what is his monthly salary on a bulk carrier? How much is his monthly salary?
Around $9,500 to $10,000 a month.
$10,000 on a bulk carrier. 10,000 into 7 months maximum. 70,000. 7 8 are 56 lakhs. Now you see, out of 56 lakhs, if you consider that you have given out 5 lakhs to somebody, you should calculate that money in terms of time that you were away from your children and your family.
1 month.
You should imagine that this is something which they have eaten up. And not only that, you must remember that this money is not what belongs to you. This also belongs to your children and your wife, who have suffered in bargain when you were away. It's not easy to live alone. Unfortunately, we cannot send our wives and children somewhere to get that experience. But that experience of living without a support on shore is more difficult than living alone on board.
Agreed.
Very often we say, खाली तुम ही तो नहीं रहती अकेले यहाँ पर, मैं भी तो अकेले रहता हूँ जहाज में. कोई अकेले नहीं रहते भाई साहब. बना बनाया खाना मिलता है, वो लिनन वॉश करने के लिए स्टूवर्ड होता है, कपड़े भी उससे वॉश करा लेते हो. कुछ नहीं करते हो आप सिवाय रीडिंग लिखने के और नून चूर बनाने के.
सर इसके लिए भी क्रिटिसिज्म मिलेगा सर.
ये मैं वाइस के लिए बोल रहा हूँ.
हाँ ठीक है सर.
तो द पॉइंट इज दैट it is very difficult to stay here and manage 50,000 things, because from there you do something in the financial front and you leave her with that. Please find out from the bank what did they say, please find out from the mutual fund office what happened, please find out from there. Just paying the bills becomes so much difficult here. It's not easy to live. The point of view of saying is that you must actually value your own hard work, and you should also value the hard work of your family here on shore. Our parents have given us birth, they have brought us up. Our brothers and sisters have supported us in the childhood when we were outside. Maybe they were elder to us, they were younger to us. They have supported us. Yes, and we should also reciprocate in our way that we can. But you have to define the limits, like we learned in integral calculus or differential calculus. Limit between this to this, x 0 to so much and x 0 to 5 to 10. So you have to define the limits. It should not be much more than what you can, because the times are changing very fast now. So these are just two examples that I told you about people who have actually affected me very deeply. There have been umpteen number of such cases that I have heard from people, and even now, every time somebody phones up and somebody says, presently also there is a mariner who is somewhere else, he's supporting his mother, he wants to give that money, even though his mother is on a family pension, but he provides his own support. He's opened her FD and provides support to her. And apart from that, every time he comes and he subsidizes his brother's business, which doesn't run. I said, why do you do that? But he has to do it. Now, what kind of financial advisor or what kind of psychologist or psychiatrist can help him? Nobody can help him. So that is why all these things have to be sorted out in the family. And in the family, I mean the wife and yourself. And that is something I don't know if we have discussed in another videos, that after your children turn 8, you must also make them sit with you when you are talking about all these matters, family matters, money matters, so that they understand. They should be made to understand that if some video game or some mobile or some gadget cannot be purchased or some holiday cannot be taken this year, why it cannot be taken? What is the concept of money? They should understand that yes, money is there, but it is not that we can do everything with that. We have to save something for future. It's very important to involve children. And I am saying this, whatever I say, I only say things that I have done myself. Whether it is financial giving tips to people or something, I never say anything which I have not done. And I have to say what I have done only because I do not have any degree, I do not have any certificate, I do not have any qualification.
Self-taught man.
Financial management. No.
So thank you very much for sharing these two stories. Thank you very much, and we're really blessed. Thank you.